Last weekend, Talladega hosted the 8 drivers in the NASCAR Cup Series playoff and the entire field for a 500-mile test. Chase Elliott crashed early and entered Martinsville in a must-win situation. Chase Briscoe won at Talladega. He enters with little to no stress and knows he's racing for a championship. Martinsville is going to be very chaotic. Ryan Blaney is looking to make it 3 consecutive wins in the fall Martinsville race. 500 laps will determine the field at Phoenix. And don't forget, potential of overtime. Plus, the last time we were here, Denny Hamlin won and shared with the world the message, the 11 against the world. Welcome to Martinsville and the final race in the NASCAR Cup Series round of 8. I'm Joe Samaniega, and with me, Matthew Bro from Grid Network TV. A big thank you to our Patreon investors, Colin, Deshelle, Mark, Robin, David, and Matt for investing in the Grid Network each and every month. Link in the video description to our Patreon page. Plus, invest one time through YouTube Super Chat, buy me a coffee, and follow us across social media all over at Grid Network TV. Now, of course, if you're tuning in live, first time in quite a while on Instagram, we welcome you as well, too. And everyone watching across YouTube and all the social media platforms. Big thing if you're watching on YouTube, subscribe, hit that bell icon so you don't miss any of our programs. Matthew, Martinsville, this is something we've been talking about for quite some time. The round of 8, 6 drivers looking to win and get in, 4 below the cut line, 2 above the cut line, and there's only 1 point between Christopher Bell and Kyle Larson for 3rd place. If neither of them win, they're at the mercy of whoever wins the Xfinity 500. If it's a non-playoff driver, Briscoe or Hamlin, very likely that both drivers are in the playoffs. If a playoff driver below the cut line wins, whoever's third in the standings after the race will be in the championship 4 in Phoenix. But on the pole, starting ahead of everybody, as Will Buxton said, that means you get to start ahead of everyone. William Byron. Byron took the pole. Ty Gibbs, Kyle Larson, Joey Logano, and Denny Hamlin are your top 5 starters. So at the start of this race, the initial playoff picture will look very different than what it was coming in, because you're going to have Byron ahead of the championship 4. He's in the prime position, leading the race. Kyle Larson plus 8, since Christopher Bell is starting 12th place. And no Fords in the top 4 at that moment. How intense is Martinsville this year, the race, where the last 2 positions are really up in the air and nobody is safe to clinch till that last lap?
I think it's going to be very intense. I think the Xfinity race was what we had seen yesterday. Wasn't as bad as usual. There was still a little bit of chaos and stuff like that, right? But for this race, it seems like Christopher Bell always gets stuck in a pickle where he's got to battle a Hendrick Motorsports driver to get in. So for that points battle is absolutely insane too. I know we're going to touch a little bit on that, so I'll kind of go. We'll wait to get to that point, right? But yeah, it's going to be a battle between those two, and I think you have to be on the lookout, especially with the intensity, for guys like Joey Logano, guys like Ryan Blaney, guys like Chase Elliott, and William Byron. So those 4 specifically, every single one of them is more than capable of dominating and winning this race. I'm not going to say they're going to, but if you look, they've all won here before, at least one time, if I'm not mistaken. Probably, I think 2 for all of them as well. Chase Elliott hasn't won here in the next-gen era, but I could totally see him getting it done here in this event. So for that, yeah, I think it's going to be really intense personally. Yeah, it's crazy. As long as we don't see what we saw last time out, that's my point. I don't have to elaborate much further on that, because I know we'll touch on that too.
I have to agree. I think as long as we don't see a repeat of what happened last year with some that missed, this is going to be a fun, interesting race, because at the end of the day, there's only 1 point in between 3rd place, 4th place. It's not a situation where you could have a driver go out there, win the 2 stages, take it easy. Because even if Bell or Larson sweeps stage 1 and 2, claiming the 20 bonus stage points, and the other was to still claim 0 points, that's only 20 positions on the track by the time we enter that 3rd stage. So a mechanical issue, a poor pit stop, worn tires during a long run and losing those positions, or what Martinsville is known for, beating bang, so a crash could change the playoff picture, and that just makes it where all the drivers, all the teams, all the crew chiefs, I feel, are going to be on pins and needles trying to figure out how to best call this race. Now, Matthew, I would assume everyone's going to be talking the 5 and the 20 car. Do you believe the 5 and the 20 car will be watching updating the drivers for where they are regarding to each other?
Now, if NBC could do this right, Joe, they would have focusing directly, because that is going to be the best battle between two of the best drivers in motorsport, with Kyle Larson and Christopher Bell being just 1 point each other. Because if there is a new winner, one of those guys is out, despite being so dominant all season long for both of them. I mean, they both have multiple wins, so on and so forth. But I want to see that battle for 500 laps, to be able to watch those two go toe to toe. And I know they can both still make it, and it's likely that they might still both make it. But the way, looking at the picture of the guys who need to win pretty much to get in, all 4 of those guys, like I just mentioned, can win and can get in. So I think they will be – you have to kind of be a little worried about what you say on the radio, because obviously the Chevy Brigade last year with I know we'll touch on that with, I think that was Austin Dillon and Chastain with Byron, and then Bubba's brakes going, and then he hits the wall and then kind of slows down, and then Bell rides the wall to get around him. Yeah, so as long as you can't really talk, they try to warn you saying, oh, you can't really talk on the radio, how many points, so on and so forth. I heard some in the truck race. It wasn't bad, but it was like I was listening to Chandler Smith's scanner with Lane Riggs, and they didn't say anything wrong. They were like, he's got points. I know, you just run your race, not run, like not try to just run your race, not saying anything like move out of the way so Lane can get by you. That didn't happen. So I think that was a good thing from Front Row Motorsports on the truck side. But as long as these Cup teams like Kyle Larson and Christopher Bell's teams, as long as they kind of don't say certain things like that, they could probably get away with it, because the idea of race manipulation is a very bad thing when it comes to the final round of the playoffs. But I think they will be watching. I think Kyle Larson will be like, hey, Cliff, what's going on? Where's Bell? And then Bell's going to be like, where's Larson? So on and so forth. But that's going to be so exciting to watch those two, just specifically because of how talented they are and the likelihood that one of them might not make it, solely based on the fact that those 4 behind them, like I had mentioned probably 47 times by now, those guys could win. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I think that's definitely they'll be watching each other just as much as we are watching them on our TV screens.
Yeah, we're going to be following those two a lot. I think that's going to be the talk of the story of the race, the main story, and the fact that these two have a racing history against each other, from the Chili Bowl, dirt track, iRacing, now at the Cup levels, the premier level of American stock car racing. With 1 point on the line and a championship, either driver could go out there and get a win. Christopher Bell, he's been in a situation where he was in a must-win, go out there and get that win. So it'll be interesting to see how he could do compared to last year, where he didn't seem to be doing that well. Last year in the closing lap, controversy occurred between William Byron and Christopher Bell, Byron losing positions as the tires wore out. Bell was not doing that great either, ill-handling car. But you had 2 Chevrolets, Ross Chastain and Austin Dillon, running side by side, which essentially prevented Keselowski and others from passing Byron, who was losing positions. Then Bubba Wallace lost a spot to Bill on the final lap. Bill got around, but did ride the wall. Because he rode the wall, Bill got a penalty from NASCAR, Byron got in, and the controversy carried all week, really overshadowing the championship for discussion. It became more apparent, too, that Chevrolet had made some deals in which drivers referenced a plan early on. So since then, NASCAR can now penalize manufacturers for such action. And you have 1 point between Bell and Larson, the same two teams, the same two manufacturers, the same track. One of them is going to get in. Very likely one of them will get out, eliminated, if somebody else wins. If Bell advances and Blaney or Logano wins, no Chevrolets in the Championship 4. 3 times Chevrolet has no cars in the Championship 4. That was 2017, 18, 19. Ford missed 2015 and 2021. Toyota, they have a streak of not being shut out of the Championship 4 since this format took effect in 2014. And of course, they already got 2 in this year. Any concerns about race manipulation, considering Chevy and Ford don't want to be shut out for a 4th and 3rd time, respectively?
I think there's always race manipulation concerns, especially because of the way Martinsville is set up right before the championship race. And that's just the way it's been. And it is worrisome. Last year was a stain, I think. And I think that was one step to show if this was, say, full season points, you wouldn't see that happen just because why would they do that? And also because this year, for example, the teammates, it would be Byron and Larson would be the ones fighting for the title heading into this week. But, yeah, I'm very concerned about race manipulation. I think it's funny that I actually didn't realize that Toyota has made every championship 4. Yeah, I believe they have the least amount of manufactured championships of I guess the big 3 in Chevy, Ford, Toyota. Obviously, Ford's won the last 3 in a row, so it would be quite amusing if they didn't make it, which is still, it's very, very possible, but Logano and Blaney are in essentially must-win situations. So for them, Chevy would be kind of crazy too. I think I would argue that'd be even more crazy. Like, I know Ford's won 3 titles in a row, but Chevrolet has had, if you look at like the regular season standings, guys like, or just full season in general too, William Byron, Kyle Larson, and Chase Elliott have been incredible all season long. And for no Hendrick guys specifically to make the championship 4, that would be absolutely insane. So I think it is very, very likely that obviously one of them is going to happen. There is going to be either a Chevrolet or a Ford, or probably both, if Logano or Blaney win and then Bell does not outperform Kyle Larson. So you'd have kind of 2 Toyota, 1 Ford, 1 Chevy. Or you could have 2 Chevy, 2 Toyota, or you could have, well, you can't have 2 Ford, 1 and 2 Toyota. But yeah, there's obviously a lot of concerns because, I mean, there's the parties that were involved last year with Hendrick Motorsports and Joe Gibbs and Chevy Toyota are right back in this situation again. So yeah, I'm interested. Like, if you're someone like Toyota, I think you'd much rather. I don't know if you'd much rather see someone like, if Chase Elliott's winning, you'd rather see him in the championship 4 than a Blaney or Logano, who just seem to understand what to do at Phoenix in the 36th race of the season. It seems like every single year in the next gen era, those 2 have been up front. So yeah, there's definitely concern, Joe. I think it's going to be closely monitored. It is funny that I feel like we don't see this nearly as much in Xfinity or trucks. I don't know if it's because there's way less parity and the guys who are usually better kind of do better in the sense, but it's going to be a very, very chaotic race, I'm predicting. It could be very wrong. It could be another boring Martinsville race, but I highly doubt that when you have a guy like Ryan Blaney coming from 30th back. I think he's 31st starting. So, yeah, I'm a little concerned, and I think we could be having a conversation later tonight that's like, what did we just do? But the Xfinity 500, I believe this is their final. I don't know if they'll continue that sponsorship, but I mean, in terms of the Xfinity series, a lot going on. They're obviously not going to be the title sponsor of the NASCAR second-tier series anymore. I wonder if this is one of their like second-to-last big final sponsorships. I wonder what they're going to be doing next year, but I really look forward to Xfinity and truly an incredible partnership they've had with NASCAR. Obviously, the Xfinity Fast Lap. They're on Bubba Wallace's car as the primary sponsor this week, Xfinity Mobile. So, yeah, that's what I got to say.
Yeah, I'm very curious how much NASCAR is going to be looking into it. Just because I keep thinking, we heard they're not allowed to talk about the points. I feel like in this kind of race, they have to mention you need one or two positions. That's going to indicate we're talking about points, not just, oh, you need two more positions just because you need two more positions. We all know that's 2 points on the line if that's two positions. The fact that last year it just appeared more, it was a case of the teams racing at each other, of Ross Chastain, Austin Dillon, who happened to be two Chevrolets. Then the picture started developing as people started wondering, hey, something's up. That's where I think NASCAR will be looking. But the more subtle ways of, whether it's going to be something like a code word that could be used, in which case everybody sort of knows the message. Could it be something where, depending on pit strategy, we haven't really seen it, but there's always been concerns of caution coming out at the right time when somebody made a pit stop, and that's just going to propel them a bunch of track positions. Of course, F1 fans remember that Singapore Crashgate, Nelson Piquet helping out Fernando Alonso. I think NASCAR is going to have a crazy day of just trying to officiate this race. You got 37 drivers in the field. Casey Mears back at it again to make it 36 plus 1. You're going to have to watch what all of them are doing if they have hot tempers. Heck, a battle between two drivers out there, hot tempers, could just bring out a caution that could be a great opportunity for some and a big negative for others. Will NASCAR look into that as potential race manipulation? The concern is high. NASCAR has their word cut out trying to enforce any such manipulation. The thing is, having that evidence, that's something where if it does occur, NASCAR could say, we're making that call. And at the end of the day, I feel NASCAR does not want to be making that call. Just like last year, they want this to be settled on the track. And the Cup Series, big time money, big time sponsors. Like you said, it is sort of surprising that you don't even see some or any attempt in the Xfinity series, the Craftsman Truck series. But here, especially, I think for Chevrolet, if they were to be shut out, no Kyle Larson, no William Byron, that's going to sting a lot. For Ford, not exactly been their year. I'm curious to see is what's going to happen with them. But overall, it's going to be something very, very exciting.
Is it possible that Chevrolet could win the manufacturer championship and not have a single car in the championship for? Because I think they're leading those standings.
I believe they're leading those standings.
That would be interesting.
That would be interesting. I don't know the answer to that. So just one of those deals where this playoff system and the separate standings makes a world of difference. In the chat room, Tyler, hey boys, happy race day. Happy race day to you too, of course. Race day started for some people very early. Supercars, MotoGP, NASCAR, Formula One, and then our wrap-up show. Approximately 90 minutes following the conclusion of NASCAR today. Hopefully it doesn't get too crazy. But yeah, Chevrolet, the year they have where they won the Daytona 500, Ross Chastain won the Coca-Cola 600. You had Shane Van Gisbergen, 5+ wins, all on road courses, of course. Kyle Larson getting his wins. To come up short on the Manufacturer Standings Championship will also sting a lot for them as well. And of course, Logano, he's represented the Ford camp. He's a defending champion. He starts 4th, so he has to feel pretty good considering that he is in the must-win situation. He's up there towards the front. His teammate, though, Ryan Blaney, 31st, a disappointing qualifying run. Only once in the entire history of the NASCAR Cup Series, racing out of Martinsville, has someone come from 30th or worse to win. That was Kurt Busch in 2002. We know Joey Logano has the streak where he wants to break it where every odd year he misses the championship for. This is an odd year. He wants to break that streak. Ryan Blaney is trying to win this race for a third consecutive year in a row. But is Ryan Blaney in trouble, Matthew? Because we know there's the talk about the long run pace. But the setup, this far back, he has not started this far back before. In the last 3 races, he's been in the 14th, top 20s, starting position, gets that win. But from 31st, is he in trouble?
It's hard because it's Ryan freaking Blaney, right? But I think you could argue he is a little bit in trouble. I think we would all be more confident in Ryan Blaney if he did, or anyone really, if they didn't have to start in literally 31st. When you look, it seems like he only does that bad in qualifying during the spring races. So it's actually, the last 2 worst efforts he had was this past spring in 25 and the spring in 23. So it's yikes kind of deal. But he still finished 11th in the last race here, and then in the other one where he qualified 31st, he finished 7th. So that gives you a little bit of hope for Ryan Blaney. But I think if he can avoid the chaos that is going to happen, he will easily make his way into the top 10. I mean, not easily, but I wouldn't count out Ryan Blaney if he was starting 40th, let alone 31st. So he's going to be driving aggressive. He's one of the most worthy guys of a championship title this year. I mean, I would argue guys like Hamlin have been probably the most, but Blaney's been up in the top 5 in the regular season standings, top 5 in the grid rating for NASCAR, and he's in the grid ranking as well. Ryan Blaney is. So I think he deserves a shot, and I think he's going to try to go out and get it. And I wondered that dynamic between Joey Logano and Ryan Blaney, like what's going to happen between those two if they're near each other. I feel like Joey Logano would move Ryan Blaney out of the way, but does Ryan Blaney move Joey Logano out of the way? I think it's Ryan Blaney's always been the guy to play nice, never really retaliate. He might say some words on the radio, but Ryan Blaney never really drives, I guess, with his head in his butt, for lack of a better term. So for him to he's going to need to probably make some decisions that are un-Ryan Blaney-like. And I think he can. It's just he might have the long-run pace. But looking at like all the results in practice and stuff, a lot of the Chevrolets and the Hendrick guys have a lot of that pace. Guys like Chase Elliott, I think, are be one to watch. I know he's 62 points to the cut line, but Chase Elliott can win this race. So I think Blaney's just got to hope he can get through people, maybe a couple cautions that can get him pace. Strategy is going to play a factor in Ryan Blaney's race here today. But, yeah, it's furthest he started back in a while, but he has won 2 out of 2 in the fall races here since, obviously, 24. And he did win a championship the year prior. So 24 and 23, he won a championship the first time, then was second the next year. So, yeah, is he in trouble? Kind of, but it's still Ryan Blaney at the end of the day. So I wouldn't count him out at all.
With Ryan Blaney, 2024, he started 14th. The year before that, 2023, he started 11th. And drivers have come from the back to win the last few races since 2022. Christopher Bell, 20th. Kyle Larson, 19th. Ryan Blaney, as I mentioned, 11th. Byron, 18th. Blaney, 14th. But Denny Hamlin this year won from 5th place. You look at those races, still, while we talk about long runs, there was still plenty of cautions. Last race here, earlier this year, 10 cautions. Last year, the race Ryan Blaney won, 9 cautions. The year before that, 7 cautions. I feel Ryan Blaney, the only sense he'll be in trouble if that car is not handling well at the very beginning of the race and he has a hard time making his way to the front. If he does have something long run, though, he's going to start working his way to the front. And like I said, I think he could then start talking about, okay, we need to go for the win. And I think that's almost a little bit of advantage for him and the drivers that are below the cut line in must-win situation. Just go out there, try to get the win. Don't worry about the stage points. Don't worry about that because that's not going to help you. Whereas Bell, Larson, they have opportunity to maximize stage points over one another. That might be a distraction for this. I think for Blaney, it's crystal clear the message. Go out there, pick up as many positions as possible. You could get those positions, great. Watch. I think they might have someone, probably the spotter, just keeping a key on what's going on with some of the other drivers. So they start pitting early, you might see them calculate whether it is time to pit early or later. Tire wear is going to be a big indicator of what's faster, that lap in or that lap out. One of the two Fords in the playoffs, Joey Logano, of course, he's there. Those two, a lot of people talking about them. Their driving styles are different, as you mentioned, Matt. I could see Logano pushing Blaney out of the way just to get around. Not wrecking, but just to push him, get up high, get around. Ryan Blaney, would he do that? That is something that's going to be very interesting to see if that's a move he wants to pull off. In the chat room, Tyler, it's amazing how much Joe and I think alike. Another week, we are on the same page 100%. Thank you so much, Tyler, for tuning in, as always, here on the Grid Network. Let's talk about a driver that has been, I feel, under the radar and not talked about a lot, and he is one of NASCAR's most popular drivers. Let's talk about Chase Elliott, because everybody has been talking about Bell, Blaney, Byron, Logano, Larson, all those drivers that happen to start with the letter B or L. Chase Elliott, the only driver with the letter E for his last name, he's in a must-win situation. Las Vegas didn't go good. Talladega certainly didn't go good at all. But he's starting ninth. So he's up there, but he still has Byron ahead of him. Larson's ahead of him. Logano's ahead of him. Is Chase Elliott a threat to win?
2 words for you. Hell yeah. I really do believe Mr. William Clyde is a threat to win this race. And it's just because he's been incredible here at Martinsville. You look at the last 3 races for Chase Elliott here. He has finished, as soon as I get rid of this ad, 4th, 2nd, and 3rd. And he has started in the top 3 in all 3 of those races, too. So Chase Elliott in the next gen era has not won here, but he has showed incredible pace. And then you look at practice. I know we're talking about practice and not the game, Joe, but fastest 30-lap average, fastest 25-lap average, second fastest 20-lap average, fastest 15-lap average, second fastest 10-lap average, and then he was 3rd in the 5-lap average. So absolutely, Chase Elliott is a threat to win this race. I'm not going to say he's going to do it, even though it sounds like I'm very confident that he will. But I know Chase Elliott's kind of been quiet, and I feel like he's been really good all year long. But he's just so under the radar, which is crazy for the most popular driver who's probably going to win unless you vote for someone like Ryan Blaney for the however many year in a row. Chase Elliott's the most popular driver. So for him to be that under the radar and somebody who – it seems like, according to the fans, he is the most popular guy. That's crazy to me. So I think 100% Chase Elliott is a legitimate threat to win this race and lock himself into the championship 4. But I'm not going to say – I don't think it will take a miracle. I just think a little luck's got to be on his side and a little chaos on everyone else's side. So, yeah, 100%, Joe. I really think Chase Elliott is a threat to win this event and lock himself into the championship 4. He's just – the numbers might lie, but he's been pretty damn good here. So I think 100%.
Yeah, the numbers could sometimes mislead because you might have a driver that, they're inconsistent top 5s, miss out races. They're not being as flashy as, say, William Byron, Blaney lately. But he could be there. He has the speed. If that car's fast, he knows how to get the job done at Martinsville. I'm going to be very curious when it comes to Chase Elliott. Will that be something where was his team? Could they be a little bit more aggressive? Because we know poor Alan Gustafson, his crew chief, He makes a right move. Oh, people are praising him for the work he's doing. He makes a wrong move, a mistake. People are saying, hey, he needs to be fired like a college football coach after a couple losses. It is just a lot of pressure on that team. And for Chase Elliott, I think he does a good job of not letting that pressure get to him. If he could have a good day, maybe the chaos impacts the others, he might be up there for the win. Sleepyhead, Byron wants it more than Larson. I have to ask you, Matthew. We know William Byron, the cover driver of NASCAR 25. 100 rating on NASCAR 25. He's sort of, I guess, become a little bit at the face of Hendrick Motorsports, especially since he's behind the 24 car. Without a doubt, one of the most iconic numbers in NASCAR and, of course, Hendrick Motorsport. Do you think Byron really wants to prove that, hey, enough about Kyle Larson, it's going to be sort of me being the face of Hendrick Motorsports, and is he more determined than Kyle Larson?
I mean, he's got to do one thing. He's got to go out and prove that. I mean, William Byron clearly gets swept under the radar because of the talent they have with Kyle Larson and Chase Elliott. But correct me if I'm wrong, I don't have the standings pulled up, but hasn't William Byron been like the highest placing Chevrolet finisher in the standings in every year in the next gen era?
Just about, yeah.
So I think he's made the championship 4 every year too, or pretty close. I think he might have been one spot out one of the years, but still, that's pretty good for a guy who doesn't get any credit, who a lot of Hendrick fans say, oh, he's just the third best guy. This is a regular season champion, William Byron, we're talking about. This is 2023 NASCAR grid rating champion, William Byron. And this year, he kind of obviously hasn't been as great in the grid rating. It's funny writing the stories, and all last year and stuff, or all the year before, it was always William Byron was in there. This year, he's just not in the bracket, so it's pretty funny. But yeah, I think William Byron has to go out. Now, he's got a lot more attention than usual. I mean, back-to-back Daytona 500 wins, cover of the best video game NASCAR's created in a very long time, in my opinion. 100 overall, regardless of how we feel about that, and we BS and joke about it, him being a 100. But yeah, the cover athlete Byron, he's got I don't know if is there a curse if he doesn't make the championship 4 as the cover athlete. I guess we could start those fun rumor things back up again, or fun conspiracies, not rumors. But I think that's a great question, or great statement, really, that Byron wants it more than Larson. He's just got to go out there 500 laps, depending on if there's overtime or not, and prove that he wants it more. Because it's very best case scenario for Hendrick Motorsports today is Larson outscoring Bell and William Byron winning. You could argue Chase Elliott too, winning, but I feel like Byron being the regular season champion and stuff, I think that would be pretty good for them. So yeah, absolutely. He's just got to prove the people wrong, Billy B. Prove them wrong.
Yeah, I feel William Byron, when he came to the Cup Series, of course, we know he did a lot of extensive sim racing. Then came to the Truck Series, Xfinity Series, up to Cup. And I think a lot of people were sort of wondering, is he really the right person to be in that 24 car? In the first couple seasons, I had my doubts, but last few years, it seemed like after he got that first win, especially once he got Rudy Fugle as his crew chief, he is always towards the front. He may not exactly be in the winning car up there in the top 3 or 4, but he always seems to do a good job of just consistently top 10. That's why he gets a regular season championship. That's why he gets the opportunities to race in the championship 4. It seems, Joe, just that streak of nothing where it just seems like he's under the radar, not getting the result. And it just seems to occur towards the playoffs. That is something I think they are very determined. I mean, he got the pole. That's the best place to be. You look at overall the standings. I mean, him and Kyle Larson, non-playoff standings, neck and neck, 1 point, and Kyle Larson's ahead. But that was just very recently, too. I mean, we all know what happened at Talladega with William Byron. I don't know if he would have gotten that win. In fact, we know he would have not gotten that win, but he definitely would have not finished 25th had he not got spun out. So I think that William Byron, he wants to show he could carry this team. And next year, what a statement would that be if he was to get a win at Martinsville, get the championship at Phoenix, most likely by a win, and then enter the Daytona 500 with the opportunity to be the first driver to win 3 consecutive Daytona 500s. That could really propel him to another level, and I think that'll bring a lot of hype to William Byron, that team during the offseason of you did all this, now you're going for the Daytona 500. It'll be a fascinating experience to see if that all works out. One of the big things, we've been talking a lot about the playoff drivers, Matthew. Let's talk about some of the non-playoff drivers in the grid that showed up during qualifying. Ty Gibbs, overall starting second. Cole Custer, 6th. Kyle Busch, 7th. Austin Cindric, 10th. Michael McDowell in the Women in Motorsports North America Chevrolet, 11th. Chastain, Reddick, Hocevar, all in the top 15. We know what happened last year with Chastain and Austin Dillon. We know sometimes Hocevar has a tendency to race a little too hard and people question his move. Tyler Reddick, he got a haircut. He wants to go out there, get a win, end the winless season. Could we see those drivers, and essentially all the other playoff drivers, get raced differently by the non-playoff drivers? Because I would assume Ty Gibbs is not going to make life easy for William Byron on that first lap. He will love to get the lead. How hard will he race him? We'll find out. And I assume Ty Gibbs will give his teammates, especially Bell, the space, because Bell is going to try to get in that championship 4. And very interesting, I'm curious, I'm assuming Ben and Brandon will talk about this, but I think you noticed it too. In the post-race media conference for the Xfinity Series, Ty Gibbs was there on behalf of the ownership. I was like, that's very interesting. Wonder maybe somebody talked to Ty. Maybe something's starting to click. But you also got Cole Custer. I think he's a big wild card. He's in a Ford, so the assumed logic is he'll race the Penske Fords a little bit more space, give them more time, be more patient. But he's not going to be with Ford next year. He's leaving for Chevrolet, that team. Kyle Busch. Could there be any ill feelings towards Joe Gibbs Racing and maybe give those Joe Gibbs drivers a little bit of a hard time? Chastain, the Spire drivers, they're in Chevrolets. How are they going to race Reddick and the Toyota and the other Toyota drivers? Could this play a big role, in fact, a bigger role, compared to past playoff races this year?
I don't really think so too much, just because Ty Gibbs, obviously, he's never led a lap at Martinsville. This is not his track. He's really good at Bristol, not good at Martinsville. I think he's going to fight. He wants to get that win. And it's so crazy to me that we're going to go a year in NASCAR, most likely, where we don't have someone like Chris Buescher, Kyle Busch, someone like Ty Gibbs, Tyler Reddick, too. Brad Keselowski just now win a race. And now it's Bowman as well. That's just crazy to me. It really is crazy to me that most of those guys are going to finish the season winless. So it'd be awesome to see one of them get it done. But I don't know if they really play a bigger role. I think hopefully it gets policed enough to where they don't play that much of a role. But yeah, Ty Gibbs, shout out team owner Ty Gibbs of the Joe Gibbs Racing number 54 car, or I should say car owner, gets his first win as a team owner before his first Cup win, which it would have shocked me if you told me that one of the Gray brothers, Taylor, was going to win an Xfinity race in his rookie year in the 54 before Ty Gibbs won in his third season and Cup in the 54. But yes, congratulations to them, obviously, on that. But yeah, Ty's got to go do it and go get it done. It would be a Toyota sweep if he could get it done. But also, same thing you could argue with Chase Briscoe, Christopher Bell, or Denny Hamlin if one of them win, or Bubba Wallace, Tyler Reddick. Those guys too winning would be a Toyota sweep too. But for the whole weekend is what I mean for trucks and Xfinity. But yeah, I don't know if they'll play too much of a role. Maybe they overdo it, trying to be like, oh, well, we don't want to block Christopher Bell is behind Kyle Larson. We're just going to move out of the way. But then it's like, well, now are you not doing the 100% type of thing where you're racing that? So I don't know. But those guys like Chastain always races hard. Carson Hocevar always races hard. I would argue Kyle Larson does kind of the same thing, always racing at 100%, and it hurts a lot of the time too. But yeah, I don't know if they play a bigger role. I'm interested to see what Cole Custer does, as long as he doesn't give an interview and act like his Haas Factory team teammate. What happened in the Xfinity race? That's good for him. But yeah, I think Cole Custer would be awesome for him to go out and run at least a halfway decent, respectable race for that team, as only 2 more races left in their existence with Ford, specifically at the Cup level and Xfinity next year, O'Reilly Auto Parts Series. So yeah, Ty Gibbs, I think, just to, reiterate, go back, Ty Gibbs is going to race everyone hard, especially Christopher Bell, but I think Ty Gibbs, we saw last week with Chase Briscoe, that he will help a teammate when needed, and that's a very respectable thing to do. You have a chance to have all three Joe Gibbs Racing Toyotas in the championship 4. Might as well try to get that to happen. And I think it'd earn a lot more respect from Hamlin and Briscoe as well as Bell and the team if he were to help out, but like not a blatant obvious help out, if that makes sense. You got to find that fine line. Then same thing, I don't think Cole Custer cares. I think he's just going to go race his race. Sure, if Ryan Blaney or Logano are near him, like I think he laid off a little at the Roval. I think it was Cole Custer, obviously a few years ago, but even this past year with Logano, I think Cole Custer and a couple Ford guys weren't trying to pass him towards the end. So you got to watch that. Kyle Busch I don't think Kyle Busch gives a flying bad word about anything. He's just got to go try to win, because Kyle Busch is still Kyle Busch, and he's just got to go out there and do it. But Chastain, maybe he's going to race hard regardless. He wants to show why he's still incredibly talented. Spire drivers, like McDowell and Hocevar, I think they're just going to race their races respectively too. And then Tyler Reddick, he's trying to win. A new haircut. He's just trying to win this. So that's how I feel. And then another guy too, Bubba Wallace, has finished in the top, has one of the best average finishes here too. I think he knows from last year not to do anything. Even though his brakes were going bad, I still think made it a little less obvious. It was like, oh, let's get 2 birds with 1 stone here type of thing with how that played out last year. So, yeah, I don't think they play too much of a role, but it is very possible that we can be having this conversation 90 minutes post-race, and we're like, wow, why'd he do that? So on and so forth.
Yeah, I know Ty Gibbs has that reputation where I feel like that'll be the driver where we'll be asking, why did he do that? I mean, we saw he was getting praised by Chase Briscoe last race weekend. Ty Gibbs, though, I think at the end of the day, if he's having a good, strong run, particularly if he's leading, he's going to have a hard time giving that up to anybody, including his teammates. But you can only assume if Chase Briscoe's running second, very likely, as long as it's Ty Gibbs up front, he'll be in a better position compared to Kyle Larson. Kyle Busch, Cole Custer, those are the 2 I'm really curious about. If they have strong runs, they just want to go out there and get the win. I feel they almost don't have any real support or care, to be honest, of who makes the championship for, because at the end of the day, Cole Custer could somehow get a shock win or just a top 5 finish. That would mean a huge amount of points for that team. For Kyle Busch, just to get a win, be in contention for a win, a strong run, he needs a good finish. This year has been lousy for him. And Tyler Reddick, that's where I think he might be a little bit more on the conservative side. He'll race hard for the win, especially if it's a Ford or a Chevrolet. But if it's Christopher Bell, I'm curious. Will that 100% rule be questioned? It's going to be fascinating to see this race, how it'll all play out. Compared to the other playoff races this year, of course, more time because you're in the round of 16, 12. I don't think it's a big deal. This one, there's a championship right there. And this is Martinsville, beating and banging. NASCAR knew what they were doing, making this race the race to get in. Because No other track can you get as physical as you can here, and be very, very entertaining for the fans. And hopefully, we don't have that controversy. Now, the race is going to be starting entering the sunset. Then we're going to have the shade, cooler temperatures. Temperatures in the 60s today, and there's not going to be too much of a drop according to the forecast right now. But we know a couple degrees makes a huge difference. We know we have a different tire. Cautions are generally the norm here. Besides the stage cautions, we could have a chaotic race, and overtime has occasionally occurred as well. We talked a little bit about Blaney, his team, their situation. When it comes to everyone, and especially the playoff drivers, do teams dare pit under green flag, or are they going to sort of wait and bank on a caution coming out to take advantage of that caution and make those necessary pit stops?
That's tough. I think that's going to be the ultimate deciding factor. I feel like with tire wear, I know they have the new is it the left side tires or something, or there are new tires or something new on these cars this week. So it's either one side or the other, or one tire, so on and so forth. But I don't know if you take that risk and pit. It's tough. And then obviously the way these Xfinity 500s kind of go is I believe there's only been like 2 overtimes since 2010 or something. And one of them was like 4 years ago, I believe it was. So no overtimes in this specific race in the next gen era. So yeah, I think you got to hope that a caution comes out. But that's going to be a strategy. You're going to look at guys like Ryan Blaney who are starting in the back. It's like, do they take advantage of staying out a lot longer and hoping a caution falls while everyone else green flag pits, or do they become the first trying to, I guess, undercut everyone? It's going to be a lot of chaos, especially because I don't think the tires wear too terribly here, but they can, and maybe they will. Hopefully they will. I think it would be kind of chaotic, and we got to love chaos in that sense too. But yeah, if the weather's not terrible, the starting time's coming up soon. Cautions, obviously, they happen even in the long run. So I think there's going to be a lot of beating and banging. And I think there's like at least 30. I think there's 37 cars in the field in this race. So it's like probably 19 of them and the other 18 of them have 2 different strategies. The first half's probably like, yeah, let's hope it runs green for as long as possible because then we're going to have to pit. And the other 18 are probably like, oh, we need to hope that there are cautions and then maybe stay out and get track position and hope there's another one. So now we have set it to fresher tires going, because I think someone like, was it Carson Quapple in the Xfinity race? So congrats making the championship 4 to him. And that organization obviously have 3 cars in there. But he had to pit and for a spin and didn't have fresh tires while everyone else did. Remaining. Obviously, most of it went green, and then there was overtime and stuff like that too. So it all depends. It's a lot of luck, Joe. You can pit first under green, and then a caution comes out, then you have that advantage, or you can not, and then it still can work in your favor, right? It's just all about luck with 500 laps at Martinsville Speedway. So we're gonna just have to wait and see what happens. But I think you want to be risky and you want to take that chance to pit under green, be my guest. But if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. But if it does work out, very smart call on their part. We'll see.
Yeah, you bring up the main point. I mean, you could just by chance maybe pit because like, hey, the car's not handling, we're losing spots, we're coming in pit road, a caution comes out, and all of a sudden now you're going to be in a great position. We've seen it in Las Vegas even, where the drivers stay out, think it's going to be green for a while. Here comes a caution. They go towards the back. Of course, that allowed for Josh Berry, Dan Suarez to go race for the win. Anything can happen to this track. On top of that, it's so chaotic because it's just beating and banging the entire 500 laps around here. Next gen car, we know, has been a little less physical, but it's still going to be pretty physical overall. And I think with this softer tire, cooler temperatures, if that tire gets the grip because it gets warm enough, I think you're going to see the field more spread out. If it doesn't capture the grip and is just wearing through that tire because it's just a little too cold, slipping, sliding, more contact, it'll be very curious to see how the temperature is going to impact the way these tires perform. Tyler in the chat room, the Trackhouse cars do not look great in practice and qualifying. Ross can and will go through the field at Martinsville sometimes, but SVG seems rudderless. It could be a long day in that camp unless they find something quick. This is something, Matthew, I feel like it's sort of been the story of Trackhouse all year. If they're good at the track, they're going to have a great day. We've seen how Shane Van Gisbergen has improved on the ovals. But this track just doesn't seem to be going good. Suarez, we know his situation. Were you surprised by Shane Van Gisbergen's poor qualifying effort? I think it's just, we know this track is so challenging just to get the hang of rolling in the throttle, slamming on the brakes, and doing it for 500 laps.
I wouldn't say 22nd is too poor for Shane, considering someone like Bubba Wallace is starting 21st, and Bubba was like really fast in practice for a non-playoff guy. So, but yeah, where's Chastain starting again? I'm just looking right now. I'd be more concerned with Suarez is obviously starting 30th, so not
13th.
13. So that's not terrible for Chastain. But yeah, it's like it still seems like a track like Martinsville should kind of play more in their favor for those Trackhouse guys. But yeah, it's a long season for that organization. It's going to change drastically. Obviously, I guess it would be 9 days from now when they welcome Connor Zilic to which he's already in the organization, but to the Cup level team, and then have Daniel Suarez, who was the founding pretty much driver of this organization, will be on his way to Spire Motorsports. So I think Trackhouse can show up, but they're so inconsistent. You really will never know when Trackhouse is going to have 3 cars inside the top 15 or every car from 20th to 25th. It's just so inconsistent, but I think they'll be able to figure it out. I think Ross will run well here. I think Shane Van Gisbergen will probably run around 20th, and I think Suarez can make up some ground and probably run in like 25th, 24th. But yeah, it all depends on the chaos.
Yeah, it's going to vary depending on what happens around everybody. I think that's going to be the big key, is just watching how this race unfolds. If we're going to have those long runs, you're going to need a car that's going to have the good speed in the long runs. If it's going to be something where it's chaotic, you're going to want to set up that's not only good in the shorter runs, but then the tire temperature, tire pressure, that will really help you get towards the front. This will be a fascinating race. I'm very excited about watching this race and how it will play out. Hopefully no controversy from perceived manipulation, because there is a championship on the line. I know for Pick a Winner, that championship's on the line. It's down to 4 people. You, Kobe, Matt White, and Tanner. So these scores are the scores entering the race weekend. So we have not taken into account MotoGP or the Repco Supercar Series wins yet. We got Formula One as well too. They're in Mexico City, a surprising grid, Matt. But let's start off with the NASCAR Cup Series at Martinsville Speedway. The Xfinity Series, well, not Xfinity Series, the Xfinity 500. Who do you see winning the race today?
Oh, God, Joe, I have no idea. It's tough because last time I was going to take Chase Elliott, I backspaced and then I typed someone else, and then Chase Elliott won at Atlanta. And I'm confident in Chase, but also I feel bad because I don't want to play that game with Kobe, which obviously Kobe took Chase Elliott, and I don't want to play that game for the rest of the season where I just pick the same people as him, because I feel like that's just kind of unethical on my side of it, even if I did think I was going to come in here and pick Chase Elliott. So I'm just going to go a risky thing that's probably not going to happen, but we did talk about it 2 weeks prior. Tanner is definitely I think in the same boat in that, and I believe Matt White also went this route. But instead of going the Chase Elliott route, and I want to be more fair in this championship battle with Kobe, instead of going there, I'm going to go with Ryan freaking Blaney to have one of the second Cup driver in NASCAR history to win a Martinsville race from 30th or back. So that's where I'm going to go. And if Chase Elliott wins, I'll just be like, oh, that sucks, Matt. I could have had another point. But shout out to Pecco for winning at least one race this week. So we're good. And then Kobe and I pick a lot of the same guys. That's why we have that many points. But I'm going Ryan Blaney for NASCAR. I don't know why I'm doing it, Joe, but I'm doing it because I'm confident in him. I don't want to go back on my word.
I'm going to go with a driver. I feel a lot of people have said he's in a must-win situation, and he is in a must-win situation. And I feel he's going to rise up, show he can deliver when he has to. And I'm not talking about, what happened last year with two Chevrolets potentially blocking and helping him out. I think William Byron's going to go out there, make a statement. I could rise up. Rudy Fugle, my crew chief, can make the car great. We're going to go out there. We're going to get the win. And that potential will start his championship drive. And we encourage everyone watching, comment with who you think is going to win NASCAR and Formula One. Let's switch over to Formula One. As I said, interesting grid. You got Lando Norris on the pole. Then the two Ferraris, Leclerc, Hamilton, Russell in fourth, Max Verstappen fifth, and Oscar Piastri, the points leader, way down in eighth, behind Kimi Antonelli, Carlos Sainz, the rest of your top 10, Isaac Hadjar, and Oliver Behrman. So, Matthew, who do you see winning the Formula One Mexico City Grand Prix?
Another one of these situations. Kobe went with Lando, and I feel like Lando would make the most sense, but I don't want to be that guy. So I am going to say that I think Ferrari's going to do something funny with Leclerc and Hamilton, and I think we're going to have to go with the do. I think Max Verstappen is going to, if anyone can will their way into this championship fight like he has done, and if anyone can will their way into a winning position at Mexico City, it is Max Verstappen. So again, just to be fair in this game, I guess it would be our left or right, depending on the way this mirrors. I think I'm going to go with Max Verstappen to win this event.
Well, I'm behind you, so I can't say I'm trying to block you or anything, but I'm going to go with Max Verstappen as well. In my opinion, Max Verstappen has the momentum. Fifth place might be the best spot because we have such a long straightaway to that first corner. The slipstream is going to be in big effect. We've seen that has caused chaos. Yuki Tsunoda has crashed on that first lap, first corner. We saw Sergio Perez first lap, first corner crash. I think he'll be aggressive enough to put the pressure on the front, try to see if they make a mistake. If they don't make that mistake, he's going to try to go out there, climb up to at least second place. And I just feel if you put Max Verstappen against the Ferraris or Max Verstappen against Lando, I think he's going to go and get that win. So Max Verstappen is going to be my pick. So we're going to be seeing how that will shape up with Max in F1. In the chat room, we got a couple picks already. Tyler going with Blaney for the NASCAR Cup Series race, and Lewis Hamilton, who is starting third. That will be a very popular win. He's been winless for a while. We all know about him losing his dog, and for anyone that has a dear pet that they've lost, that is hard. I think that will be a really big moment for him. Nicholas, this might be Ferrari's only chance of winning a race for once. Yep, they got a really good opportunity to do that. And then Adam goes with Max Verstappen and Kyle Larson for pick a winner. So a lot of good picks out there. And of course, we'll be following it, tracking the score. Encourage everyone, subscribe, hit that bell icon so you don't miss any of our programming right here on YouTube. A big thank you to our Patreon investors, Colin Deschelle, Mark, Robin, David, and Matthew for investing in the Grid Network. Through Patreon, link in the video description takes you to our page. We got a couple different plans. You pick a plan, and then we'll thank you before and at the end of each program, your name on the leaderboard. And follow us, Grid Network TV, across social media and gridnetworktv.com. After the race, Matthew Bro will be working hard on his recap of the Martinsville race. So it will be a lot of fun today with race day, Formula One, NASCAR. They will recap also the Supercar Series, their playoff format, the finals, and MotoGP, plus the latest on that scary Moto3 crash that occurred earlier today. For Matthew, I'm Joe. Thank you for watching today's program. We'll see you next time and enjoy the race.